Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is a class where we will study together the Mamer of the Rebbe, said in 1978. The Rebbe actually said this Mamer during his recovery time after his first stroke in 1977, pursuant to Simchas Torah. So this Mamer followed, and the Rebbe said this Mamer at a time where everyone was listening to the Rebbe's Farbrengens as the Rebbe was in his room speaking over the loudspeakers in 770. So welcome everybody onto the class. Welcome to my father. Welcome to my aunt, Auntie Eva, and welcome to Josh. Thanks for joining us. Looking forward to enjoying this Maimah together. We're going to do probably 2 classes on the Maimah, and these 2 classes, we will divide the Maimah in half. It's a Maimah of 6 chapters, divided into 3 sections in this book, in this provided template, and I think we'll enjoy it. Now, why do I choose to study this Maimah now? Because the context of the Maimah is, it uses the pasuk shown in front of us now. It says, Mayim Rabim, Lo yuchlu lechabois es ha'ava, u'nehoros lo yishtafuha. Imitin ish es kol hoin beisoi ba'ava, ois yavuzuloi. If you're following along, if you've got any questions, you can definitely put a post into the chat box. We will get through to it. We will get through to that at the right time. And if you lose me at any time, please do say something. Please do put in a post right there. Okay. So the Maimah is all about this sentence, and as we'll see in the introduction of the Maimah, the pasuk Mayim Rabim seems to refer to some sort of many waters, and these are many waters that would not extinguish the love that a Jew has towards Hashem. At the same thing, the rivers cannot wash away this love. And as we're going to discuss, these many waters actually refer to distractions that we have in our lifestyle as Jews. These will be distractions that hold us back from connecting with Hashem. Let's begin to read the Hebrew. I'm going to read the Hebrew and translate it as we go, and then we'll read the entire paragraph of English plus the explanatory terms as they come along. So, Mayim Rabim lo yuchlu lechabos es ha'ava, that's the pasuk. The many waters cannot extinguish the love that the Jewish people have for Hashem, nor can the rivers, which is in this explanation the princes and kings of other nations, wash it away. V'isa b'drushei Rabbeinu Nesienu, the Rebbeim throughout Chassidus teach it as follows: Shemayim Rabim heim kol tirdes hapanasa. This Mayim Rabim in discussion, these are all of the tirdos hapanasa, all of the concerns about his parnasa, about his livelihood, and they are the machshavos shebe'inyonei olam hazeh. These are all the thoughts that we think about what's going on in the world that we live in. V'im kol zeh, nevertheless, lo yuchlu lechabos es ha'ava, they won't be able to extinguish this love that a Jew has towards Hashem. Let's read the translation. Chassidus explains that on a spiritual level, the many waters refer to a Jew's concerns about his parnasa, his livelihood, and thoughts about other material matters. Even though these thoughts may be overwhelming and all-consuming, they are not able to extinguish the natural love for Hashem, which is concealed within every Jew. The Hebrew continues, "V'nohoros lo yishtafuha, shegam ka'asher machshavos hanal hematidos b'yoser." Even when all of these thoughts are so overwhelming, ad shehein meshoitetos b'merutza betmidos bli hefsek klal, to the extent that they're beeping at you at every moment without pause. K'moy anohoros shenoivim tamid bli hefsek. Like the rivers that are flowing constantly, like a raging river. Nevertheless, they are still not able to wash away or extinguish this love. The previous Rebbeim, here, let's read this together. Join me. The previous Rebbeim explained the parallel between concerns about material matters and flowing and raging waters in greater detail. A person is often unsure which type of parnasa he should pursue, which business he should start, which career to choose, etc., or which direction to take within his current business or career. This causes his thoughts to toss him around like turbulent waters when trying to battle with the various options, and the concerns are constant and overwhelming like a constantly flowing river. This can equally be applied to any other material concern, whether it be health problems or financial concerns, finding a place to live, etc. Even though the Jews are also needed to make a living, Jews also need to make a living and pay the taxes during the times of the Beis Hamikdash. But the land of Israel, when the Beis Hamikdash was standing, is referred to as a land flowing with milk and honey. Each Jew needed to put in his own effort to earn a parnasa, but the choice of parnasa was clear, and the work required was obvious. The parnasa flowed from the land, and a Jew just needed to put forth the effort to collect it. Thank you for the comments coming in. I appreciate them. It's really nice. After the Jews went into Golus, each person's source of parnasa hold on a second. Yeah. Each person's source of parnasa, where are we up to, became concealed within the physical world, and much more effort was required to locate and extract it on an ongoing basis. This process became so involved and so all-consuming that Chassidus explains that being subjected to the raging river of parnasa is the modern-day equivalent to our enslavement to the Egyptians in the first Golus. The Mamer now explains the correct way to approach these challenges based on the following pasuk from Tehillim. So let's read the Hebrew. It's right here. Yegia kapecha kisoichal ashrecha v'toilach. If you earn what you eat from the toil of your hands, you are praiseworthy, and it is good for you. So we are going to have to, work this sentence through, because modern day work can't be limited to just your hands. Some of us, programmers, lawyers, doctors, entrepreneurs of any kind, all of these professions, they need a lot more than just using your hands. So we really need to figure out what it means, the effort of your hands, and that's what's praiseworthy. Thank you. Obir diuk. Okay, so we're going to continue reading the Hebrew. Obir diuk haloshon v'tirdas haparnasa hineksiv yagia kapecha kisoichal. So the pasuk says, let's the Maimon says, let's understand what it means diuk, what it means tirdas haparnasa. So the pasuk says yagia kapecha kisoichal. And the diuk in this is well known, that yagia kapecha means dafka your hands, but not the effort of your heart. So here, the pasuk specifically refers to the toil of your hands to teach us the correct way to be involved in earning a parnasa. The worries of parnasa are problematic because they involve one's mind and heart in earning a living, when parnasa should only involve the toil of one's hands. The Maimon clarifies that a Jew should not involve his mind and his heart, even though earning a parnasa may not be easy. Hi Shimi, thanks for joining us. So we continue in the Hebrew, and as we said earlier, we're discussing the Maimon from the Rebbe, talking about worrying about one's parnasa. So apropos to our time right now, when many of us are struggling with parnasa. This is an important time to recognize where really does our parnasa come from and how should we attain it. So let's go through this. Behainu, dahagam asher. We're going to skip the parentheses just for the purpose of flow. Dahagam asher tzarich liyos asiya shebezeh tislabesh hashefa shelamaylam. even though we need to have some kind of effort in which we will contain the blessings from above. Like the pasuk says, Hashem will bless you in all that you do, and it's specifically the word tase. You got to do it. Sometimes you need a lot more effort. You don't have to be involved in this asiyah, in this doing. What do you need to be involved in? Rak as koiches hachitzoinim shelo. You only need to involve your most external faculties, which is yagia kapecha, the effort of your hands. Your hands are, your hands represent all the external limbs. Avoloi es koiches hapnimim v'hanalim. Don't use your internal, your most elevated, your most unique faculties for this, like for example, shabamoyach v'leiv, your mind and your heart. Ki koiches elu tzvichim liyos mugdashim l'shamish koina. You need those faculties, your mind and your heart, to serve your master. This is the main reason why you were created. Let's read the English so that we can get a good flow of what the English is. Since a Jew's blessings are drawn down into this world through the garment of nature, a garment conceals the person wearing it, just like nature conceals Hashem's involvement in this world. He therefore needs to put forth enough effort to earn his parnasa in a natural way. This is the meaning of the pasuk, Hashem your God will bless you in everything that you do. Effort is required on the Jew's part to create a container to receive Hashem's blessings. Furthermore, due to the extreme concealment of Golus, a tremendous amount of effort may sometimes be necessary to earn parnasa. Nevertheless, this effort need to only involve a person's hands and not his mind and heart. A person should dedicate his higher faculties to his ultimate purpose in this world, which is the service of Hashem. This approach seems to suggest that a Jew should only be involved in types of parnasa which require manual labor, and seemingly ignores the fact that much thought, planning, or analysis is required to find and execute even these simple jobs. And how relevant is that many of us do work that needs a lot of planning. We can sit in front of a desk for days with our team working this all through. But is this Maimah telling me to stop thinking about my work? Should I only be farming, where one takes their hoe and their spade and you go and do the physical labor? Let's take a look. Now, even though sometimes the Hashem's bracha for a Jew's parnasa is concealed within the garment of nature, and as such, it is necessary for the Jew to use his mind to figure out how to earn his parnasa. This type of mental involvement must be limited to the practical planning and analysis which is required in order to execute the appropriate actions, and can still be considered the work of your hands, action-focused. And here is, I think, a fundamental line in this mimer is, you can use your brain, but don't spend your time, as he says in this coming paragraph. The point at which a Jew's mental and emotional energy becomes incorrectly invested in his parnasa is when he becomes overly involved with it. It becomes his source of enjoyment and main pursuit in life. Or when he starts trying to figure out how to increase his parnasa by scheming to beat the system with tricks and loopholes. And even if your plans are in a kosher way, but we don't want you spending that time like that. That's not healthy for how do you say this? It's not healthy for you as a Jew to put in your effort in all of these plans. I just had this conversation a couple of days ago with a business coach who told me, he's a Jewish guy, a Hasidic guy, and he tells me that the mindset of a Jewish worker should be that when we work, we should be we should be planning our work the way we want Hashem to respond. So if we're scheming, if we're putting in all the brains, Hashem says, listen, you've got to take care of. You got to take care of. I'm going to step away and give you whatever you're working for. But when we step out and we say, I'm just putting in my hands, I'm just putting in my external level of involvement, so then Hashem's response is, let me fill up your buckets a lot more than the effort you've invested. That was his idea, and I think it's quite relevant to what we've just read. Now, here's an important note. To clarify, this doesn't mean that a Jew is supposed to hate his job. Rather, it means that a Jew's true enjoyment, which he looks for opportunities to pursue at any free moment, should be serving Hashem through Torah and mitzvahs. A Jew can achieve this proper involvement in business when he is aware of his parnasa actually comes from. And I think that that's going to be a very important part of this, is knowing where does the parnasa actually come from. Let's take a look at the next quote from the Rebbe. Obefrat shebirkas havaya hi ta'asher. The Torah says that it's a bracha of Hashem is what makes one rich. Really, it's the work itself is not a source of parnasa, but rather it is the lavush. It's like the garment. It's like just a container for that blessing. Hare move on. Should bedugmas halavushim bepashtus hamarbe belavushim lo he'edif mu'umav adarabe mekalkel yoser. When we talk about getting dressed, you might say the following analogy, and it's right here. Just like someone who wears too many garments or garments that are too large will do more harm than good. What can be the harm? You might overheat or you might trip up. Yeah. In Australia, you might overheat, and in Montreal, you might not be warm enough. The same is true with parnasa. If a Jew has too many garments for his parnasa, they do more harm than good. Is another point in this editor's note is that when you're trying to work out if you're making the right choices in your life, you should take the time to talk it over with your mashpia, with your mentor, to know what's the right thing for you. You might have to be involved in this job, and at other times you may not be. Here's a Hasidic story. There was a Chassid back in Soviet Russia who got a job in a factory, and the owner of the factory was Jewish. He liked this Hasidic man and that he was living up to what his beliefs were, and so he gave him a job. The Chassid was working as well as he could, but he was doing his job. In the meanwhile, the manager, the owner, gave him a higher position as a supervisor. A couple days in, the Chassid came back to the owner and said, listen, I appreciate the raise, I appreciate the new position, but I don't want it. I'd prefer to be a regular laborer on the line than be a manager, supervisor on watching over so many people. So the owner said to him, why? Why would you prefer doing so much more physical labor, which is so much more tiring, rather than being able to supervise, which is more relaxing? The Chassid gave the following response. He said, I prefer being involved in the labor because for that, all I need is my hands. I stand here, I do the work, I leave. My mind can be occupied with something else. But if I have to be the manager on the line, if I have to be a supervisor, then my mind can't be occupied with other stuff. I need to be focused on all the other workers, making sure that they're doing what they need to do. That's a Hasidic perspective and relevant to that quote we just read. Let's continue. This explains why Hasidus uses the expression worries about parnasa, the term tirdos. And here it is. V'zehu diuk haloshin tirdos haparnasa. This is the emphasis of the term tirdos haparnasa, worries about your parnasa. The hagam shuhu b'matzav nomuch, even though he's in a low level, a low place. Sheyesh le tirdos haparnasa. He's worried about his income. This shows that he's not properly thinking, that he's not properly contemplating on how Hashem is the source of all his blessings. Mikol mokaim hinegam hatirdos. It's also the worries. Also these worries. Nevertheless, even worries about parnasa or other material concerns cannot extinguish the natural love for Hashem, which is hidden within the Jewish soul. I'd like to take a moment just to review the thought process. Why would I think that tirdas hapanasa, being worried about my panasa, would disturb me from loving Hashem? What's the issue? I think that the issue is, welcome along. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining. Why would our worries about income be a good reason to disturb me from my connection with God? And the simple answer is that when I disconnect God from what happens in the world, when I allow the worries for my income, for my livelihood, to overwhelm me, I'm saying God is not in control. I'm saying God isn't the one who monitors and who manages everything. But when I return to that mindset, when I return to the philosophy that God is the one who provides everything, and my boss or my employer or my clients are just pawns on the board, then I'm reminding myself that really God is in charge. God provides everything, and all I need to do is that basic vessel for the income. Okay, so let's continue. At first glance, we should assume that our pasuk means verse, is explaining that the low spiritual state of having worries about parnasa, income, is not able to affect the soul's love for God. In the next section, the Rebbe will explain an even deeper meaning of this verse. Let's take a look. Okay, so here's a summary. Let's go through the summary to move on to part 2. If you're having a good time, if you've got any questions, put in a comment on the chat box, privately or to everybody. It's up to you, and look forward to hearing your comments. The deeper meaning of the pasuk, many waters cannot extinguish the love, nor can rivers wash it away, is that a Jew's worries about his parnasa and other material matters cannot eliminate the love for Hashem, which is hidden within him. Worries about parnasa result from an over-involvement in earning a parnasa. A Jew should only earn a living through the work of his hands, and worries are a result of investing his mind and heart into his work as well. A Jew needs to use his mind to earn a parnasa in order to figure out what he should do. And it may take considerable effort to perform his work, but the true focus of his intellect and emotions needs to be exclusively dedicated to serving God. When a Jew does not have the correct approach to earning his livelihood, he can become overly involved in his work or could look for ways to beat the system to increase his income. The correct perspective to have on earning a parnasa is to realize that all of a Jew's blessings come directly from Hashem. True, Hashem wants him to put in an effort to earn a living according to the laws of nature, but he needs to remember that the natural world is not, God forbid, the source of his income. Nevertheless, even if a Jew doesn't yet have the correct perspective and is overwhelmed by his preoccupation with making a livelihood, these worries cannot extinguish his soul's love for Hashem. All right, we're getting ready for a deeper idea in a deeper spiritual reason behind the concern which our pasuk negates, that worries about parnasa could extinguish the soul's love for Hashem. So now we're going to talk about how maybe otherwise. Maybe it could be otherwise. Let's take a look. Hachidush b'zeh shemayim rabim lo yuchlu chabes es ha'ava. What's the chiddush? What's new? What did I not know? What's the lesson in this, that the Mayim Rabim, the many waters, will not be able to extinguish the love that we have? The Yedua. It's known. The Shorish HaMayim Rabim, where does Mayim Rabim come from? That's the Tirdas HaParnasa. That's from the level of Toihu. Toihu is before Tikkun, and in our Maimer we're going to read in a moment, we don't really need to know much about Toihu and Tikkun in order to understand what's going on. We just need to know that Toihu is higher than Tikkun. It's a stronger light of God. It's a stronger revelation. The Zeu Shnikroim Mayim Rabim Liyoisam Rabim. We're calling them Mayim Rabim, the many waters, because they're many, even in their source. Although the physical world is lower than the godly soul, the creation of the physical world involves a greater concealment of godliness. The physical world has a higher spiritual source. While the godly soul comes from the lower world of Tikkun, the physical world comes from the higher world of Toihu. The fact that the animal soul and the physical world come from a higher source explains several puzzling relationships. The lower animal soul can overcome a Jew's godly soul, concealing its love for Hashem and taking a Jew away from fulfilling Hashem's will. A person is the highest form of creation, but nevertheless depends on the lower forms, minerals, vegetables, and animals, for his sustenance. So we need to connect all of these things with what we're learning, and it's coming soon. A carbon, an animal sacrifice, can atone for the sins of a Jew, even though a human being is superior to an animal. This also explains why the phrase Mayim Rabim, the many waters, can also be translated as great waters, because material concerns originate in the superior world of Toihu. They can therefore be called great in comparison to the godly soul, which comes from Tikkun. This explains why our pasuk needs to clarify that the great waters cannot extinguish the soul's love for Hashem. So the Mayim Rabim comes from Toyu. Our neshamas, us as humans, as Jews, we come from Tikkun, and it's the Mayim Rabim that's attempting to extinguish the desire of the Jew, the desire of the neshama to connect with Hashem. Can it really be that a creation of Hashem can disturb me from connecting with the one who made me? Let's find out. This is the chiddush, in that the Mayim Rabim cannot extinguish the great love, and the rivers can't extinguish the love either. Why? Even though the Mayim Rabim all come from Toihu, these great flows of water, these great flows of distraction come from this world of Toihu, shekoidim the Tikkun, and Tikkun is the shorish of the nefesh of the kiss. That's where we get our godly soul from. Nevertheless, these great waters, these great distractions, they cannot extinguish the love of a Jew to God. How come? We'll find out. Even though the great waters which is concerned about material matters, come from the world of Toya, which is higher than Tikkun, the source of the godly soul, nevertheless they are not able to extinguish or wash away, God forbid, the natural love which the godly soul has for Hashem. The Mamer explains this based on the following pasuk, which is the pasuk before many waters, etc. So here's the pasuk that we're going to quote now, and this one directly precedes in Shir Hashirim the pasuk that we are discussing at length. And here it is. Simeni kachoisam al libech. Place me like a seal on your heart. Kachoisam al zrayecha ki azo kamoves. For love, like a seal on your arm. Ki azo kamoves ahava. For love is as strong as death. Kosher kishel kina. Zeal is as strong as the grave. Here are the main words. Rishofeha rishpei eish. Its coals are coals of fire. Shall have a seha, of a great flame. And I want you to take a look, if you can look at the Hebrew word that we're going to discuss in a moment. It's important to notice that this word, v'shafeha rishpei eish, shall have a seha, can actually be divided. If you break it up, it says shall heves, and then it has the name of God. Shall heves means the flame, and the name of God is the flame of God. And that's relevant for what's coming up. All the explanation of this one. Like we've said, the flames, the coals are coals of fire of a great flame. It's the flame of God. The source of the soul. And the hidden love that exists in every Jew's heart. This is in the Atzmos or Ein Sof, which is higher even than Toyo. And we're going to talk about all of this at another time. But the idea now is that the love that a Jew has innately in his soul for God, there's nothing that can compete with that. Nothing at all can compete with this great love that exists for the Jew, for all the Jews, in their hearts, deep inside. Where does it come from? God dropped it in us. God invested it in us, and He's left it there for us to be able to, to use and to access all at the right time. So that this piece of love that's in us, that's from Atzmos Ein Sof, and that's higher than Tohu. We said before that Tohu is before Tikkun, but even before Tohu is going to be this great love that we've got. Sheshorish ha'ava shebenefesh ha'elikis hu b'vchinas shel heves yud kei. The flame of love that we've got in our soul, that's even high. That's the level of Shal Heves Yud Kei in discussion, the flame of God, which we spoke about here in this verse. Let's see if we can find it here. Its coals are coals of fire of a great flame. So that's what we're talking about now. So let's take a break and we'll talk about two kinds of fires which can exist. The potential for a flame can exist within a coal. A flame can be created by merely blowing on it, even if no visible flame exists, but the coal can also be extinguished. So if you go over to your barbecue, you light up a bunch of coals and you get it all going, and you just have that fire sitting inside the flame, waiting for it to be fanned, waiting for it to be kneaded. The second kind of flame that we can talk about is the potential flame that can exist within a flintstone. If you take two flintstones and you strike them against each other, it can create a spark, which you can use if you're really talented to turn into a fire. So it takes significant effort to reveal that flame, but the flintstone's potential to produce that spark cannot be extinguished even in water. You can never get rid of it. You can soak that stone in the fire forever, but it doesn't. It'll never disappear. It'll always be there. It'll always be accessible. That's the real point. Is that it'll always be accessible. So the source of the godly soul's love for Hashem is in coals of a fire of the flame of Ka, of God's name. This means that the soul's love for Hashem is included within His essence. The soul loves Hashem because it's included within His essence. It's within the coal. But it's important to know that the true source of the soul's love for Hashem is even higher. The soul loves Hashem because it is united with His essence to such an extent that it can be compared to the potential essential flame which exists within a flintstone. This will never be extinguished. This represents how the soul is completely united with Hashem's essence and does not have any independent existence at all. This is higher than the name Havaya. The Alter Rebbe refers to this level of the soul with the pasuk, and the soul returns to the Elikim, to Hashem who gave it. Whereas the name Elikim itself is lower than the name Havaya, the term Ha'elikim refers to Hashem's essence, which is beyond the name Havaya. So it's keeping the flow of the Mamer, because that's important for remembering how things come. We started right at the beginning discussing how the great waters of distraction can't take us away from our connection to Hashem, cannot extinguish our love. But now we need to understand what is the nature of the love for God that we all have inherently within us. And as it happens, that love that we've got in us could be described in either of two ways. It could be considered the flame in a coal, which means that with a bit of effort you can pull it out, you can bring it out, but it's extinguishable. Or you could describe it as the flame which is theoretically present, potentially present in the flintstone. When you strike the flintstones, it comes out, but it's not always felt. So the same thing, it comes to the love that we've got in our hearts towards God. It could be that for a while the love that we have to Hashem is going to be a bit quiet. It's still. It needs to be fanned, and then it begins to burn. It grows greater. The other option is that the flame, the love for God inside of us, is like the flintstone. It's always there. It's never going to be extinguished. It cannot be extinguished. Hi, Shimon. Thanks for joining us. And again, anyone who's here with us, you can always ask questions on the chat box. And I'm having a great time. I hope you guys are. Tune in, by the way. Next class to complete the Mamer will be on Sunday night in America, which is Monday morning for the rest of the viewers. V'hinei, lo yizu bilvad she'ein be'yocholos hamayim rabim anal lechabes chas v'sholom es ha'ava shel haneshama. It's not this alone that the Mayim Rabim can extinguish the love of the neshama. Eli yiserim izu, more so, sha'al yodom naisa yisroin ba'ava. It's the tirdas hapanasa, the distractions from our love of God, are going to help our love to Hashem. That sounds kind of like a contradictory to what I would have thought. I think the word is antithetical. I'm not sure though. But let's see. V'hu sha'al yidei yiridas haneshama lamata ba'olam haza v'yislabshusa b'mayim rabim anal imagia l'madrega nailis yoisa v'madregasa koidam yiridasa lamata. And that is that it comes to a through the neshama coming down into this world and getting involved with all and being part of the distractions, it can be lifted up to a greater level than when it came down here in the beginning. When the soul descends to this world and is forced to deal with the pressures of earning our parnasa, this enables the soul to reach a higher level of love for Hashem than it could have reached in the spiritual world. Parenthetically, the Rebbe points out that extinguishing the soul's love for Hashem could contradict the ultimate purpose of the creation of the great waters. This is the tachlis hakavana of the Mayim Rabim. This is the whole reason why we've got these distractions. V'lochin soif soif. That's why at the end of everything, ein b'yacholtom lechabis es ha'ava. These distractions can't extinguish my love to God. Why? The real reason why they were made, why the distractions exist, it's actually to help me grow and develop my relationship with the one above. Now we're going to explain how the challenges of earning a parnasa can bring the soul to a higher level. This is the part of explanation to understand this idea. Ha'ilui shenaisu b'haneshama al yidei yiridasa lamata v'yislabshusa b'mayim rabim. Now, what is the development? What is the advantage? What's the plus of experiencing the distractions created by this world? It's because it's going to help me get to a state of teshuvah. Ukiyadua shehaneshama is koidam yiridasa l'guf. The souls, before they come down into a body, they're actually complete tzaddik souls. They're the best that they could be, in a way. But as the soul flows through and lives through the world, they enter into the Baal Tshuva standard. The place where a Baal Tshuva can be, tzaddikim gemurim einam oivdim, tzaddikim, complete tzaddikim don't attain this standard. The tzaddik isn't even able to attain this level of connection with Hashem that the Baal Tshuva has. This explains why the soul can only achieve the level of Baal Tshuva after descending into this world. It needs to go through everything, through the distractions. It needs to withstand the distractions in order for the neshama to be so much better. This is why the concept of tshuva, returning to one's true source, is the reason why someone needs to leave their source and put forth effort to return to it. This is Shaykh Davke Kasher Einoi Nimtza B'mkoimo Ya'amiti. This is when the person is not in his regular place. That therefore the soul descends from its source in the spiritual world and comes into this physical world, which then enables it to do tshuva and get to its true essence. Based on this, we see that a sin is not a prerequisite to tshuva. By the way, you don't need to do an avera in order to do tshuva. No, you just need to focus and get closer to doing what Hashem wants. The idea of returning the soul to Elikim, who gave it its presence on earth. Umekivan shemalis habal tshuva. Since the level of al-tshuva is even better than the level of a tzaddik, that's why through the idea of tshuva, which it changes something for the neshama, it makes it better for the neshama when it comes down into this world, even more than it was in its source. So here we finished the stuff for tonight. If anybody has a question, write it into the chat box, which we can take a look at the questions if they come up, and we're looking for them there. The idea that we've just concluded is that there is a benefit. Hashem puts us through the distractions for us to grow. By having a distraction and choosing to withstand that distraction, we are able to connect on a higher level. What's this higher level? It's the higher level of the one who recognizes that there's something else and says, I don't want it. I don't want anything other than the best. That level, we're going to call that the Baal Tshuva. The Baal Tshuva recognizes that this is the only way to go, and he says, this is the only thing I want. And like this, he elevates his position in his connection with Hashem. And he says to Hashem, you're my main focus. Do you really think that God would create something that could actually stop a Jew from doing what the Jew needs to do? No way. God wouldn't do that. He wouldn't put us in a stumbling block, in something that would hold us back from our best achievement. Instead, God says, God gives only the ability for a distraction, but a distraction that we are able to withstand. From where do we get the energy to withstand? It comes from the level of from toyu, from above toyu, from the atzmos, from the essential part of the Jew, from the essential connection that we have with God, where we really are God. And if we just put ourselves to it, nothing stands in our way. This, I think, is the lesson for all of us in this time in this unusual, unprecedented era of the world, that we think we're in control and now we're in trouble. No way. We're not in control. God is in control. God gives us what we need, and God tells us all of these distractions, push them away. Focus on what's important. Focus on what's true. Get another connection with Hashem, and like that you can withstand. You can stand above, and you can be so much greater in your connection with Hashem. So someone's given us a comment over here. Thank you. It seems then this is the purpose and the same idea of Nisoyan. That it seems this comment is that it seems like this distraction, this tirdas hapanasa, these worries are just like an Nisoyan. And Nisoyan is a test from Hashem. Hashem is giving us an opportunity to surpass, be above, and get better. Yes, I think that it's connected the same way. I think that's a really good connection. Thank you for giving that to us. And thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight, joining us all tonight in this learning a Mamer of the Rebbe. I'll see you again on Sunday night in America, Monday morning in Australia for those coming all the way from the other side of the world. And I look forward to sharing with you more Torah studies when we do get the chance. Have a good night and be well.